Hey, everybody, what's going on? We are here. Yes, it's all about One Book Baltimore. Big shout out to Baltimore City, and thank y'all for tuning in to 92q.com. We are live on Facebook right now. We are on the YouTube page for 92q, and we're on 92q.com, and it's all about One Book Baltimore. Today is a special day. It's the launch day for One Book Baltimore. It's a program partnership between Enoch Pratt Free Library, T. Rowe Price Foundation, Baltimore City Schools, and other community partners like my man who's doing it real big when we speak for ourselves, Mr. D. Watkins. What's up, man? Hello?
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. My microphone was muted, but shout out to the Pratt and LaTrisha and T. Rowe and Baltimore City Public Schools and everybody involved. I'm so excited to be here. I'm blessed.
Also on the big screen right there, we got Miss LaTrisha Milton. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Man, I am fine. We are excited. One Book Baltimore. AD, please break it all down. What is One Book Baltimore?
I think LaTrisha would be better at explaining that than myself. She runs the program. I don't want to say the wrong thing and put myself in a trick bag.
Right.
That's fine. Well, One Book Baltimore, as you said, is a partnership between Enoch Pratt, T. Rowe Price, and Baltimore City Public Schools, where we get the 7th and 8th grade students to read the same book. And so every year we pick a book, we arrange with the author to come to Baltimore to talk to the kids, to kind of get them revved up about literacy and whatever the theme is for this year. So this year's book is We Speak for Ourselves by Baltimore's own D. Watkins.
My guy.
I'm so honored. Like, I'm so happy to be here.
Man, tell us how did you become writing the book for We Speak to Ourselves and what it's about?
So the book is basically about the power of direct service, but I don't, it doesn't really come off in like a didactic way. I don't sit there and preach to people and try to tell them what to do. Instead, I present issues that happen all over the country: food deserts, financial literacy, community engagement and involvement. And I give examples of myself and what other people do to try to get involved and try to help people out. And sometimes we get it right and sometimes we don't. But everybody who's in this work knows that all of the real change comes from the bottom up. Like, nothing is ever going to trickle down on us. We are going to change our communities and make our city better, then we have to roll up our sleeves and get dirty. And the books just give some clear examples of that, and just has a whole focus on the power of direct service.
Now, for those that might not know D. Watkins, is this your first book or you've been writing books?
This is my third book. This is my third book in the past 5 years, and I'm happy with this one because the book was crafted for young people to be able to understand the power that already exists inside of them, to look at the tools that they have and use those tools to make change.
Got you. And Enoch Pratt Library, Ms. Milton, y'all picked his book. And when does this whole program start? Like, when do we get started with the program?
So today was officially the launch day. Actually, this morning we had an amazing program where we reintroduced D to the students of the schools. And after today, we have programming with community partners with the schools that are all tied into the themes that are discussed in the book.
And I looked on the side right here. I'm reading this paper right. Today's the day, like you said. And how can someone sign up for the program?
So if you are a 7th or 8th grader with Baltimore City Public Schools, every 7th and 8th grader will receive a copy of the book.
Through the whole school system.
In the whole school system, yes. Wow. And so that's the amazing part about this, that you can receive a free book. And once you start reading, you can look on the library's website under One Book Baltimore. We have many programs that we're going to be doing all the way through February that are directly connected to this book.
And like we said earlier, if you got any questions, any comments, they're coming right down there on the screen. I'm pointing down because me and LaTrisha is at the top. I don't know how everybody else is the screen is. My man D is at the bottom. Man, listen, and it goes on till February.
Yes.
Will y'all be doing this again next year? Is this just this program?
So every fall we kick off One Book Baltimore. So we'll be doing it all over again next October with a different book and a different author.
Wow. How can someone that writing a book, do y'all pick the books or can someone submit a book?
So typically we pick books that are already kind of out there that we want people to pay attention to. We haven't had anybody to submit a book before, but I don't see why you couldn't if you felt like it should be heard by the kids of Baltimore City.
Right.
I mean, I could submit another one.
Why not? Like I asked you before, you said this is your third book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to know D. Watkins real quick. What was your first two books about?
So my first book, The B-Side, was about how big political issues affect everyday people. When I wrote the book, I was just hanging around all of my neighborhoods in East Baltimore. I'm from down the hill. I was living in between down the hill and Latrobe at the time I wrote that book. But I was just, I was just inspired, and I just felt like big politicians and people who present these ideas just missing the mark. The second book, The Cook-Up, is about the lies that we're told about selling drugs and what happens in the streets and what that street life is. And you see the glam and the glitz and how some television shows and some movies and some artists act like everybody retires to become Jay-Z. And most of us don't even make it to be looking. Most of us not even Memphis Bleak. You know what I'm saying? So, so I tell the horror stories of some of the things that I've just been trying to bring everything together, because I get to this point in my career where I've done so many things that I don't really have an interest in doing stuff I was doing 5 years ago. But then all of the new stuff that I'm getting pulled into is so corny that I don't want to do that either. So now I'm just stuck walking in this world trying to figure out left from right and what's wrong and what my place is. And I ultimately found out that my place is service. I should be working. I should be working for people. I should be working for my people. I should be working for our school system. I should be working for my family. I should be utilizing any and every resource that I have to work. and that's kind of where I ended up at. Life of service.
See, that's all that still around that new house you got that's blocking you from saying what you got. Now, Ms. LaTrisha, I'm pretty sure this question goes to you about, I'm seeing it says Read Woke Book Challenge.
Yeah, so that's another that's another program that we're rolling out in November, actually. And it is a program that I actually decided to adopt here in Baltimore after seeing a school librarian in Mississippi who created this program. Wow. And basically it's designed to teach kids how to not only read books about themselves, but also other cultures, other ways of life as well, so that we can learn to respect each other. So this whole program will roll out in November, and we have a suggested reading list of about 20 books. All students have to do is read 4, and they will get a free t-shirt that says Pratt Teens Read Woke. They'll get a free book, and we'll feature their picture on our social media. So that's something else that's going to be coming out this fall.
And we also can go to Enoch Pratt Library and get some laptops, some tablets.
So yeah, when
not laptop, tablets.
So the right now we have tablets which are completely checked out, and we have hotspots in order to assist students who are in school and may need some of these things in order to connect to their classes, since they're doing virtual learning right now. So you can actually go to the website and reserve a hotspot or reserve a tablet if one is available, and schedule to pick it up at the library, and you can use that for your schooling this semester. And
it's 14 locations, and it's contactless. You don't have to nobody. They come outside, they give it to you.
Right. We right now, because of COVID, we have opened up 14 of our locations who are providing sidewalk service. So you just call, make your appointment, they put it on the table, you come by and you pick up what's yours. So it's an easy contactless process for those who are interested.
We got a question coming in 1 second. Big shout out to Clara Jones. They wanted to know the name of the program one more time.
The name of the program is the Read Woke Challenge.
All right. And also One Book Baltimore. We're doing
One
that.
Book Baltimore. Yep.
So there go all your answers. If they have any questions for you, D, where can they locate you at? How can they hit you up?
I'm all over social media at D Watkins World. I try my best to answer everything as quick as possible. I don't like to leave people hanging. I get caught up. I get backed up with emails sometimes, but I try my best. I'll be up 4 o'clock in the morning responding to emails.
we happy for you. I remember you when you came in and we did your book.
Yep. Me, you, and Raven and Squirrel. Yeah.
Now I'm waiting for the questions to come in. Is there a waiting list? Is what someone wants to know to get.
That might be for the tablets. There is a waiting list for the tablets. I believe that we still have hotspots that you can reserve and check out, though.
Okay. And I'm seeing any other questions. What about Baltimore County? Says my wife teaching Owens Mills.
As far as One Book Baltimore, I'm assuming that's what that question is for. This program is specifically geared to Baltimore City. Although you can participate in the programming as far as getting the free books and the author visits, that is something that only Baltimore City students can participate in.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully,
we gotta hold Baltimore down. You know, we got love for Owens Mills, but we gotta hold the city down, and we have to work hard to make sure our students get what they deserve.
Maybe this will be the initiative for your wife, since she teach, can find a way to connect with someone to start it for Baltimore County. Hopefully. They said that's the only questions we have for right now, but we need to really reiterate one more time about One Book Baltimore, right? You know, so people could really understand it, because you know some people wasn't here at the beginning. So we got to talk about it again. What exactly is One Book Baltimore?
So One Book Baltimore, again, is a program that is a partnered program with Enoch Pratt, T. Rowe Price, and Baltimore City Public Schools. And it's a program designed to get 7th and 8th graders, along with their families and the community, reading the same book. And there are discussions, there's programming tied to the themes of the book. There's author visits to the schools for students to connect with them and ask questions. And there's also going to be an end of the program event where the students will be able to show their talents and showcase how the book has impacted them through various art forms. So it's a powerful program.
Can you tell us a little bit about the I Have a Voice Youth Conference?
Yeah, so that's one of the programs that's connected to the book. So we have some of our librarians put together this conference, I Have a Voice Youth Conference. It's a social justice conference, and it's very fitting for this year and a lot of the things that have been rising up again in our community. And Dee is our keynote. We have Lady Breon, who's going to open up the day with the spoken word piece, and we have breakout sessions that will discuss different social justice issues that will allow teams to kind of ask their questions and express themselves in their own way about how they feel about it. Because one of the themes of Dee's book, as he said earlier, is that young people have a voice, and we need to do a better job of helping them to feel comfortable expressing themselves and talking about the issues that impact them.
Yeah, you was talking about getting another book, man. What you think your 4th book will be about?
My 4th and 5th books are already in production. So the 4th one is a memoir that I'm co-writing with Carmelo Anthony. So we're just busting down his life story, talking about when he was born in New York and when he moved to Baltimore and when he lost his cousin Luck and some of the things he was going through when he came up on the basketball circuit. And then the book that's coming out after that is just a book on fatherhood and some of the things that my father went through and some of the lessons that how we don't really get a chance to get those lessons that we need to become the fathers that we deserve to be. And it just kind of tackles that. So it's on masculinity and fatherhood. And then I'm working on a couple of TV shows too. One with David Simon that is going to be a Baltimore story. I can't talk too much about it, but we bringing television back to Baltimore. Another show that I'm working on is not in production and still in development, but I'm excited about it because I get to executive produce it. And I worked on Charm City Kings. That just came out today. I got a chance to be a consultant producer on that film. So, hopefully people get to understand that as a writer, books are amazing. Books are everything to me, but these books and these opportunities, they go beyond the page. You can write your way into writing and create television shows and do cool things like really consider being a writer as a profession. You should think about it because you get to use your creativity to do positive things.
Well, if you need a short fat guy in this movie, please. We got a question coming in for you, D. Megan want to ask, what's the impact do you hope to have with the program?
I hope young people I hope young people start learn how, I hope young people develop, my words are a bit twisted. I hope young people develop a love for reading. I want young people to love reading. When I was a kid, I didn't love reading. The books that were given to me weren't books that necessarily spoke to my experience. And, I'm not even gonna act like I was a kid who was against it. It's just, I was given stacks of books in middle schools and I thumbed through pages desultorically. And it's just, there was like nothing that really spoke to an experience of a young guy coming out of East Baltimore. So hopefully young people who read this will see themselves in a book or see some of the issues that they face and get the confidence to tell their own stories and love their own stories and work at becoming what they actually can become with the power of critical thinking.
I appreciate that because I'm like you. I remember being in high school and was like, I really couldn't get into Odyssey and Homer and the Iliad and stuff like that. It didn't resonate with me. But I would run home to read The Source and the Double XL and magazines like that because I was like, oh, that's what I like to read.
And he was doing anything.
Yeah.
And our young people can do that. You can create the new Source, create the new Double XL. The Fader doesn't always have a real big emphasis on underground artists. Like they break a lot of SoundCloud artists. They're not breaking people that's posting them viral YouTube videos. You can be the person to capture that culture in a way that nobody has, and it can become something beautiful. So yeah, that's love.
Kelly got a question
someone's
right now.
asking how can people get a discussion guide? Yeah, you can get actually the discussion guide is in digital form on our website and Baltimore City Public Schools website, and we have copies available at our 14 locations that are currently providing sidewalk service.
Wow, man, I'm excited. Yeah, like things like this make a person like me want to read because I like I said, I didn't like it because I was reading stories about things I couldn't resonate with. But now, thank you, D. Watkins, and thank you for the program. I can't wait for it to get started. Now, today.
We're here.
If somebody on here right now, what link do they go to start the One Book Baltimore?
So you can go to, then they just put it in at the bottom, prattlibrary.org/One Book Baltimore, and it's all about the program. You can see a picture of the book and all of the programming that's up and coming. So visit the link and you can get all of that information.
Do you have any extra information, LaTrisha?
The only extra information that I have is, even though we mentioned that this is a partnership with Baltimore City Public Schools, this year we are expanding our reach to private and parochial schools. And any 7th and 8th grader that is a part of a private or parochial school, they can stop by one of our 14 locations to pick up a free copy of the book so that they can read and be a part of the programming as well.
And also get one of those tablets while you at it.
Yeah, reserve your tablet and your hotspots.
It's a one-stop shop. You can do everything at the Enoch Pratt Library today, tomorrow, whenever. Just make sure you like you said, www.prattlibrary.org/One Book Baltimore. Sign up and then get that hotspot and tablet while you at it. Well, we won't wait for some more questions. We were hoping people would have way more questions.
While we waiting for questions to come in, people should definitely take a screenshot and so they can save the URL so you know how to get to the Pratt and get involved, because we're working with some cool people. We're working with Brittany from B360, and we're working with Sharena from Muse 360, and we're working with True Laurels, who is Lawrence Burney, who has a magazine in Baltimore, and he's any Baltimore artist that has been at Noisy, The Fader, any of these publications had got there through him. So he's going to be teaching our young people how to actually make their own magazines, so they can have the feeling that you had when you used to flip through the pages of The Source and XXL back in the day. So well, I guess not even XXL. Back in the day, it was like Right On. I remember Right On.
I didn't want to show my age, right? I didn't want to say Tiger Beat and all of those. I would hope that someone that's watching it, a young person that really want to do their own magazine, like you said, a Baltimore artist underground magazine will be very nice right now, because the underground is doing it, and they just got to be showcased.
Yeah, I used to read Don Diva magazine religiously when I was young, when I was in high school, like, you know, and they were $20, $25 magazines.
Yeah, they were.
It had content, information, and stories that you actually wanted, that you wanted to know, that you wanted the backstory. You wanted that real, that authenticity that you can't get anywhere else in the world but from that market. So that's just taking it back.
The Enoch Pratt Library got a question for you. The Pratt Library wants to know, when did you start going to the library? When you start going to the Pratt?
I started going to, the first time I've been to the Pratt was probably, I want to say like 1989. Back in the day. I went to the Enoch Pratt Free Library, and I got a couple of Curious George books, and I got and I apologize, Enoch Pratt, because I'm gonna tell you the whole story. But I got the Curious George books, and I got this book called Stone Soup, about this guy with this rock, and then he went in town and he was hungry, and he kept asking people, like, you know, can they feed him? And they said no. So he started lying to them and telling them that he had the best soup in the world, but it would be better if he had some spices. So they would get him spices. And then he went to the butcher and said, this soup is so good, you can't have none, but if you give me some beef, I might let you taste some. So then he had beef. He took all of that stuff and he made a soup. So I stole that from the Pratt. I took the I got the Curious George book from the Pratt, and then I think like the baddest thing I ever done as far as books is I cut out some pictures of Magic Johnson from a library book in the Pratt. I cut the pictures out of the book, and then I took the book back. That's the one I turned in. But eventually, I had a card. I think I had like $1 million. I had like $1 million bill with the organization. I think Sheila Dixon or somebody had to give me a pardon. I started going to the Pratt when I was a little kid, and I remember the first thing that got me in there is it was 1,000 degrees outside, and they had AC, and I went up in there and I started thumbing through some of those books. And I will say this: when I was a little kid, I loved reading, and then I got lost in middle school. Middle school is where we lose a lot of people. That's why One Book Baltimore is so important, because we lose people in middle school. Everybody loves the Cat in the Hat. Everybody knows Green Eggs and Ham. Everybody across the board. But when you get in middle school and you're giving kids stories that have nothing to do with their reality, they start to feel like reading isn't for them. And then they take off those years, and it's kind of hard to get them back when they get to high school. Or when you get to high school, you smacking them with the Crucible, and then you're giving them the Iliad and the Odyssey and all of these things that, again, don't necessarily speak to their experience. And my career was actually launched in Baltimore City Public Schools, because my first essays that I wrote for the city paper and then I wrote for Salon.com all went viral inside of the school system. So it was students actually bringing my work to the teachers like, yo, how come you never assigned nothing like this? And the teachers was like, yo, who was that guy? And before you know it, I'm getting phone calls from teachers saying, can you come talk to my students about your writing career? And I'm like, career? I got like $30 in my bank account. And, I'm over here eating a air sandwich. We talk about career. But they were asking me to come in, and I was coming in. And I think it really, really clicked for me that I was on to something special because I did a story on Young Moose. And the story went so crazy and got into the hands of so many people that his judge saw it. So the second time he was locked up, his judge said, this is criminal. This guy shouldn't be in jail. And that was one of the reasons that got him home. Like, I think it was the first or the second time he was sitting. But the beautiful thing is I took a stack of those, and that was in the city paper, and I took a stack of those city paper articles, and I took it to students at Patterson, and they was like, oh, we want to be writers. And, we know Moose, and he be right there on Bradford Street, and this, that, and the third. And it became real to them, and then everything started to make sense. And then to like go a little further, the police officer, Daniel Herschel, who I wrote about, and that article, that was the first article that gave a human experience to the crimes he was committing. And now he got 18 years in jail. And me and a bunch of other writers who continued to do research on how bad he was, we all got TV deals based on his corruption to be able to tell people the real story about how some of these officers mistreat people in Baltimore. So all of this stuff comes full circle, and we blessed, we working just by doing what's right,
I can't do nothing but applaud you, yo. Like, that's a dope story. I'm pretty sure Enoch Pratt and Miss LaTrisha is coming to your house to get money, all the back pay that you owe. Yeah. Hey, what Enoch Pratt Library was that? Was the first one you walked in? What location?
It had to be the one in Highlandtown because Highlandtown was close to the Boys and Girls Club, and the Boys and Girls Club was where they used to come get us from when we was by Chapel. So we was like we was on Chester, and they used to come, and Coach Rowe used to come get us and take us to bar for Mr. Hurry and them. So yeah, it had to be the one. It had to be the one in Highlandtown.
I wanted to say that. I said that to ask you, but somebody's watching, right? And they probably think, well, there's no library around my way. You understand? So that's why I asked you which one you went to, so the people in that neighborhood could be like, hey, let me stop in there. When the last time you've been to the library? Like just go in there.
And they got a beautiful one. They got a beautiful one on Orleans Street. That became my Pratt when I got a little older, when they put that one up right across from the Checkers. But there's a Burger King now, like right down on the Pratt by Douglas. Beautiful Pratt. It's amazing. Right across the street from my high school, Dunbar.
Here we go. These PPO3 all day. Man, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, and thank you. And for one more time, let's break down One Book Baltimore, where they can go, and where they can go for hotspots and tablets. There they go. Look, Enoch Pratt ain't playing. Enoch Pratt is ready. www.prattlibrary.org/One Book Baltimore.
Yes, at one of our 14 locations, they're open for sidewalk service. Just call, make a reservation for a time to come pick up your book and your discussion guide, and you're in. And all of our programming is virtual this year, so you don't have to come to the physical library. You can just log on to our website, and it can tell you all the information about the programming, where you need to go, if you have to register. All of it is on the website.
Man, thank you so much, Miss Milton. Thank you so much, Mr. D. Watkins. First of all, big shout out to the Enoch Pratt Library up the Emerson Village Shopping Center. That's the one you should have went to. You should have came all the way west and went to that.
Oh, I could have thrown y'all books and bring them back east. I would have did it.
Yep. Thank you so much.
I love the Pratt. Like, the Pratt has just been there for so many years, and so many people. The Pratt has changed lives of so many people, especially like, the ability to just come and use the internet just to apply for jobs and things like that. Like, things like that are essential to our community, and people don't really understand that. Even if you can't sit on there and surf all day, you can come in there for an amount of time and just try your best to utilize them skills to elevate yourself. Read those books and change your life. So I love the Pratt, and I'm always honored and blessed when I get a chance to do anything with them. And our last big event was with the Pratt before COVID, when we filled it up and we put so many people came out. How many people was at that event? LaTrisha?
There was a lot. I think it was about
100.
Yeah, it was a lot of people because we had to make overflow areas on the second floor.
Wow. Well, thank y'all. Y'all have a beautiful day. Launch day is the day. We are excited. And don't forget, students, please, if you need help and you need a laptop, I keep saying laptop, tablet, or a hotspot, because pretty sure when we hang up, LaTrisha's going to send D. Watkins a hotspot because his computer was very faulty today. We're going to make sure you get a hotspot, sir.
I need one.
Y'all be blessed, and thank y'all, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a better one.